Welcome to LCE513, Assessment and Testing. This is Artifact 1, setting the CALAT scene. You're going to hear a story about the daily life of a young man named Pavlos. Pavlos wakes up very early in the morning. His hungry cat makes sure of that by meowing and purring at him and pressing her paws on his cheeks. She never stops, not until her human is fully functional. After feeding the kitty, he has his own breakfast and coffee. He freshens up and gets ready for work. While he gets ready, he remembers how much he has to do over the week. He works as an English teacher, he's taking a master's course, he has friends and relatives he wants to see, and he has got plenty of hobbies for his personal time. He has so many obligations, and he can't help but assess himself. Why do I have so many obligations? How am I going to keep up with everything? When will I find the time to operate? Where should I be now? Pavlos looks forward in doing so many things each day, including planning his lessons, going to work, reflect on his day at work, study for university, complete workload for university, spend time with family and friends, find time for some hobbies, including singing, going to the gym, taking care of the garden, his cat, playing a video game, or watching a film. There are three main components right now in Pavlos' daily life. First, the component of university, where he has to study, research and provide workload. Second, the component of work, where he has some fixed teaching hours and needs to find materials, plan lessons, and reflect on his day at work. The third one is a personal time component, where he needs to find the time to see his family and friends, find the time for hobbies, and have some rest. But where is the balance? Says Pavlos. How do I stop one component from overpowering the other? After loads of thoughts and assessments, Pavlos may have found the missing ingredient to fix what was bothering him in his need of balance. He realized that time management is the key. Time management is Pavlos' proposed solution. It is the fourth missing component which will help him make his daily life cycle move on a regular and healthy basis. Oh, by the way, have I mentioned that I am this one called Pavlos? Yes, that's me. Now, let's take a look on assessment and testing in a language environment rather than my daily life. I tend to assess using a PDP framework of class assessment, where every step reflects to the previous and the next one. In pre-class assessment, I'm planning a lesson and I ask myself, what am I going to assess today? What would I want to change from the previous session? Could I approach students in a different way? Will students be more collaborative today? Is there anything I can do to enhance this chance? Am I taking any risks when trying a new approach? Is there enough time to cover everything? During class assessment, I observe student or lesson flows by monitoring. Do students like my new approach better than the previous one? Are they communicative? Is there quality and critical thought where needed in their answers? There are some time-consuming factors that may take place during the class. For example, may I go to the WC please? May I have some water please? And some chit-chatting between the students. At the end of the lesson, we realize that the lesson plan will never turn out to be how we want it to be exactly 100%. In post-class assessment, I reflect on the observed flaws for future lessons. What should I do next? Excessive help of struggling students comes at a cost for instructional time. If not a single approach is helping, then what do I do? Should I inform the parents? Should I share concerns? Shall I suggest private instruction? Assessment and testing sometimes confuse the reader, assuming that it's the exact same thing. But what if I told you that they're not? Assessment is an ongoing, never-ending and conceptualized process, while testing is for a time only and completely based on memorization. Assessment may provide individualized feedback, while in testing there is no clear understanding of students' thinking at that time. Assessments provide both qualitative and quantitative data, while testing provides only quantitative. Assessment also influences positive feelings, while testing is quite judgmental and influences negativity. Assessment is more flexible, and testing is completely structured. Now, I'm going to share with you some of my personal experiences, both as a student and as a teacher. As a student, I remember classes being completely test-oriented. We had spelling dictation tests for every lesson, tests at the end of every unit, and for the last 2 months of lessons, we practiced entirely on exam papers as preparation for the final exam day. What was the outcome though? I remember there were students with stress and anxiety. I remember students parroting every single thing they've learned and forgetting it after they step out of the examination. This entails that there was a focus on good grades rather than a healthy learning experience. As a teacher, group classes are usually both test and assessment oriented. However, assessment is always there during the lesson. I know my students' abilities, and sometimes they may bring homework with strange and fancy vocabulary and grammar. Was a parent involved in the homework's completion? Why? I have got some cases of private students where English is not quite their forte. They don't like it very much. They only need to pass the exams, get the certificate, and find a job. Thus, testing in this case is their most preferable option. I would say that I assess from the moment I step into my class. I observe what every kid in my room is doing. I look at their performance, and that actually gives me feedback in my instruction to be more effective. It helps me know where my students are falling behind, so I can pick them up and put them back on track. Testing, however, rarely offers such information. When a student sits for an hour on a desk, take a test, and then give it some score, this does not let me know what thinking was going on in the student's mind when they filled their answer on the paper, regardless if it was right or wrong. I believe there should be a room for testing in class, but I don't see it as a main priority of a teacher. Focusing on assessment to me would probably mean that teachers care about their students' progress, while focusing on testing and good grades would mean that they care more about the name of their institute and their name as established teachers.